I'm Jackie Russell from Teak Media and Communication, and we're here today with Myriam Michel from Elite Events. Hey, Myriam, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me, Jackie. I'm really excited that we finally have gotten
I
together for
know.
so a while.
Yeah, it's great. No, it's been great getting to know you at the events that you've done that we've represented. So tell us a little bit about what it is that you do.
Sure. So I solve clients' problems through events. What does that mean? That means that we mostly work with mission based organizations that want to raise money, raise awareness for their organization, and then we problem solve that through events. So putting on meaningful events that has impact and purpose for their clientele or the people that they serve.
That's great. How long have you been doing it, Myriam?
15 years. I started my business right out of college, and got my planning chops working back in the day at BU. BU used to have a research center that put on a lot of policy conferences. And then through that, I just built the acumen, built the database with folks, and then just really kept pushing and finding clients through that way.
Yeah, that's great. And now it's word of mouth, I imagine, because you do
Word
such
of
a good
mouth
job.
word of mouth has really catapulted my business, especially since the pandemic. I would say truly right after George Floyd. Um, I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to be a little cheeky, but literally after that, there was a lot of DEI efforts being made in in the world. So I wrote at that time. The Globe was doing a piece of people of color in the workforce or in high powered jobs. And I decided to write a piece on event planning and hospitality. And that picked up pretty quickly and catapulted my business from here on out. So it's really has been word of mouth, and we've been extremely fortunate.
I remember that piece was really well done. So tell me, in all these years of doing this work for nonprofits, and when you're trying to create these amazing and profitable events for them, what are the problems that you have encountered? What do nonprofits get jammed up on when they're trying to create a great event?
Establishing a budget is the first step. Um, and also really understanding why they're having the event. What I always tell a client, what you don't want to do is have an event just to have a party because it's a very expensive party at that. But if you work with someone who's done this before, who's able to, listen to your vision, your wants of what you are trying to accomplish with this event, and then they establish kind of a rubric for how you're going to walk through this. Like I said, starting with the budget, number one, and going down line by line about what is important to you and what's important to accomplish. That is the first thing. You want to make sure if you are having an event, it touches base on the people you're serving, especially in the nonprofit space. And obviously, nonprofits make their money through sponsorship. So you want to make sure that the sponsors who are buying into your organization, also it's a mutual benefit. There's a meaning towards it. In the past, we've also used to encourage when we do galas, having a sponsor maybe sit at a 10 place setting and then have folks in the community be a part of that event. Not only is the sponsor learning from there's a closer touch point there. It's not just blindly writing a check. Yeah, there's people who do that, but then there's other people's and other organizations who want to burnish their brand, and they want to know where their money is going. Other options that we have decided and told clients is doing a fund to need. A fund to need is a very easy way to show a donor where the money is going. For example, hey, we need to have 4 or 5 students attend a training program that will be beneficial to them. This X amount of dollars is able to do that. Connect to stories. And so, in working with a planner, we're able to kind of bridge that gap.
And so, what are the actions that you take to help the nonprofits overcome the problem?
First, listening to their story, we have to understand what is it that you are trying to accomplish, and how do we get there. So it's a storytelling through the events. Whether it's we're sitting down with you and we're saying, okay, we want to. What is your goal for the event? Okay, how are we going to get there? Let's sit down. Like I said, create the budget is the first step. and then creating an event that is impactful, whether that is through having the folks that you are having the event for be in the program, be a part of the program. Obviously, like I said, people relate to stories. So having and incorporating, I brought this event about students, having students be a part of that program, telling their story, telling
Mm,
how X organization helped us do this, and having your sponsors hear that, making sure that your sponsors, your guests are not just leaving that day with that information. So we sit down and make sure that, hey, the event was successful. It was great. Now let's make sure that there's a touch point right after that. So we even talk with our clients saying like, hey, make sure there is a post follow up, because there's always folks who are not going to be able to attend your event, but making sure you have the multimedia as part of that event to share immediately after that event is over is so critical to fundraising
mm,
and so critical to pushing the mission forward for the organization. So those are the key
that's
points that
great.
we always make sure that when we're talking to a client, that this is, fundraising is not one day, it's pre, during, post. And how do we incorporate that? How do we plan for that? Yes, you can have a beautiful event, but make sure that you're leaving with being in the black.
That's great. So, in this formula that you have, what are the results that you've been seeing?
Successful. I could take an example in the past where one of our clients, I won't mention clients in here, but one of our clients has been doing this event for many, many years. We came in and we were able, I bring back that buy back ticket program. And what that means is you'll have a sponsor come in at a next level, and then they have a certain amount of tickets that they can give to their employees or people. But we were able to sit down with that client and say, let's donate certain amount of those tickets back to some maybe community members that you work with or other partner organizations that may not be able to afford a $750 ticket per head. Let's get them in this space, because a lot of the nonprofits in the past have done, they do these fundraisers for their donors and not necessarily for the causes that they're doing it for. And so they're not usually in these spaces. And so in order to keep the people that you're fundraising for and your sponsors happy, let's figure out a way how to do that. So we were able to bring those folks in. We were able to streamline their processes of how they were doing this event in the past to save them money. And that at that time, even during the pandemic, they made over 750K in profit, which
That's great.
doubled what they had anticipated.
That's great.
And so that model has been successful
Yeah.
because my past, I have been an ED myself, so I know how to raise money.
Mm,
And I understand at the end of the day, you have to keep your margins low for an event. So the uptick could be something that, not like I said, not putting you in the red. You're just not having a party just to have a party. It has to have a purpose, and you have to make money. And you can do that whether it's not an expensive. It doesn't have to be an expensive gala. It could be different ways in how you fundraise. It could be a run. It could be other folks. However you fundraise, it doesn't always have to be an expensive endeavor, because at the end of the day, there's two parts of throwing an event. You have to run, you have to make money, and you have to communicate your message and get people to be fans and ambassadors of the work that you're doing. So those are two important things.
yeah, that's great. That's why your events are so successful.
No, thank you. You've attended. We've worked many of the events together, so
Yeah.
that's been a winning combination.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to tell my story, and hopefully this helps other nonprofits out there.
Yeah, that's the goal. Thank you.
Thank you.